Mario Cristobal, we saw in that Miami game, we saw how Miami will win and we saw how Miami will lose. We saw a team that was disciplined on defense the hardest way, which is to be physical and disciplined. Those teams of Mario Cristobal have not been that. And what you saw at the end of the first half, where they have 18 seconds left, they score a touchdown, but it's all the 2 touchdown passes required great throws from the quarterback, a great catch from a wide receiver, could have been disaster plays under other circumstances. But I thought, watching the game between Miami and Notre Dame, I thought it was 2 things, and both of these things can be true. Miami should be happy that it wins that game no matter what, because Miami often loses that game for a lot of reasons. And Miami fans being upset with Mario Cristobal because he did all the things in that game that will lose you a game when you have the physical advantages against the team. When you have physical advantages, offensive and defensive line, and another team gives you 2 turnovers, that game should not be close. And a lot of people are complaining in the Miami. A lot of people are complaining that Mario Cristobal went very conservative. They're not wrong.
They should be happy that he trusted a defense that was among the worst we've ever seen just a couple of months ago. It took him a couple of months to go into a game against Notre Dame and say, you know what, I'm going to let my defense win this game. They wasted the greatest offense this program has ever had, and they could not stop anybody. Pedestrian offenses would run at will. And he leaned on the defense to win a game against the national runner-up. And he almost blew this game. It's a 2-score game. That game turned into a rock fight at times. And to your point about the composure and the culture and the discipline, Dan, there was one play that I saw. I didn't notice it during the game, but JoJo Trader got picked up by his face mask by a Notre Dame player, dragged about 10 yards. This all happened right in front of the officials, who weren't great on the day. JoJo Trader did nothing in retaliation. No flag was thrown. The retaliation would have certainly drawn a flag. You remember how Miami season ended last year at Syracuse? Jacoby George, who we're always worried about losing his mind and backing Miami up. I went through fall camp. I'm like, who's the guy that we're worried about? If this dude can put it all together, then we're good. But it took several years to finally weed that stuff out of the locker room. But these dudes have discipline now, and they've bought into a culture. They're all thinking the same way.
They had one bust. They had one play. You can't have it when they had it.
One bad play.
You cannot have it when they had it, because there were no big plays in that game. And I think the Notre Dame offense is capable of a great many big plays. Right. And so I was surprised to see Miami's defense that improved. I was surprised to see him that physical and disciplined, because Cristobal teams do get penalized a lot. That was a shocking stat Lucy just gave us, that every damn game DeBoer plays in, he's got more penalties than the other team.
That's not what good football teams do.
Well, but it's certainly not what Alabama's used to, because when do you get penalties often? It's not just discipline. It's, these guys are too big, strong, and fast, so I have to cheat to stop them. Yeah. Like, that's how a lot of people are playing against Alabama.
Jeremiah Love is a great player, and Reuben Bain knew Jeremiah Love from that film study, because one of his notes, as we saw earlier, were bleep Jeremiah Love. But we were talking about this on Monday, and it did feel like they should have gotten him involved in the game a little bit more. Too many quarterback keepers on those RPOs. And then I looked at the stats. Everybody was upset that Jeremiah Love just got 10 carries in that game. Jeremiah Love last year got 11 carries a game. They fed him the same amount. The problem was the 3.3 yards per carry. And if Jeremiah Love played Miami's defense in the CFP last year, he would have gone for 300 yards on the ground.
Right. That was the thing that stood out to me the most about the game, where, last year when Canes fans are complaining about they should have been allowed in the playoff, it's like, and what? So they could just get their kicked in at some Big Ten team in the first round of the playoffs? That team that I watched on Sunday night, that team would have played with anyone. It was a major difference what we were watching Sunday. That team there plays with anyone.
The game was essentially won scoring right before half and then taking the ball and holding it for 7.5 minutes.
It was so impressive that first drive.
There were 14 points scored in a 12.5-minute span where that's what it has to look like. Yes, I know we get all super excited where Cam Ward is having to chase the game and put up as many possible points as possible because you can't keep any teams under 40 points. But that's how you choke a game away, and that's how it's going to have to look in November.
Canes fans are cool with that first drive in the third quarter because everyone's freaking out about Mario's the offense in the second half.
Well, everything after that. So let me just stop everyone for a second when I say on display there, a future Monday show, if you had to bet on it, are we going to be saying in a future Monday show, oh, they had that one, but all the Cristobal things happen where you don't understand how they lost. If they'd lost that game because they missed a 47-yard field goal, that game would have been over, and I'd be really confused as to how they lost that game with a 2-turnover advantage and advantages on the offensive and defensive line. And I'd be in here saying, good God, they weren't stopped by Notre Dame running the ball. They just kept running between the tackles because they're not doing anything creative on the corners, and everyone knows statistically. What's the caveman Cristobal going to do? He's going to punch you in the face because he wants to run it down the middle of the field empirically, numerically, more than anyone. He wants to have – he was the one recruiting out for Alabama when they got that big. What he wants is we will punch you in the face and run right down the middle of the field when we wish to because we're bigger and stronger than you. But they're not yet.
Everyone was saying that was a conservative play call. Yeah, but what's conservative about 6 yards a clip? Notre Dame got a stop there and then scored right afterwards, and that's what happens with a 2-score game.
The conservative part that I had an issue with was on the last drive, all right? We're tied at 24, and it came down to, you know what? Like, this isn't the NFL. These kickers can miss any kick in college. And Cristobal was seemingly totally good with a 47-yard field goal. That is, in the NFL,
as if he still had Carlos Huerta or Borregales or any of these guys.
That's a gimme in the NFL. In college, these kickers miss from everywhere. I would have rather not kick a 47-yard field goal.
That kick also would have been good from 65.
I get it. Yes.
Bombed it.
Yeah, but if he missed it, Mike, we're having it. If he missed it,
I was terrified before the kick.
We would have no explanation for how that game was lost. We'd be like on quarterback draws.
And we would have joined Penn State in that. Like, how did Notre Dame come into this stadium yet again? The other team controlled the game, and yet Notre Dame is victorious at the end. That team is a resilient, tough team. And I'm not going to apologize for winning. Because a double-digit lead ended up being a 3-point spread? Get out of here. They just beat Notre Dame, who's going to be good and get better as the season goes on.
And by the way, when you describe Mario Cristobal as a guy who just wants to play big and to run the ball up your throat, that certainly wasn't the case last year when Cam Ward was throwing the ball all over the field and setting.
No, it was. Statistically, they ran between the tackles more than any team but Baylor.
And they also set passing records that had
understood, but I'm just telling you that philosophically what the man does was on display there. If you had to bet and be right or wrong and win money, we will be doing a Monday show this season where we're talking about how the Miami Hurricanes lost a game inexplicably because of what their coach did.
When they lost to Syracuse and they were up 21-0, no one was saying that offense got conservative. I was saying they should have ran it more because they were running at 7 yards per carry in that game, but they didn't, and they blew a 21-0 lead. You couldn't trust the defense. Cam Ward was not being conservative in that game. They blew it because of their approach to it. Yes. That is not how you win in college football at the highest levels.
Right, and the defense is appreciably better this year. But you're talking as if they did lose.
I'm just saying some of the fan base is saying this. It's not even what I'm saying, but you have to bet and be right. Answer my question.
And to the fan base, I would say get real. You just beat the number 6 team in the country. You were an underdog. You beat them. Why are you parsing the victory?
Because I think you're looking bigger picture.
They almost lost.
I think we're looking bigger picture.
I don't care that they almost.
They did blow a 10-point lead.
Who cares?
So it's a 10-point lead.
Who cares?
Who cares? They won.
We're not talking about a 28-point lead.
Mike, you also last week were saying they were going to win by 3 scores.
I thought they were going to rip their heads off. And for a while there, it looked like
it
they
at one point.
should have, is my point. They should have.
Credit to the opponent.
You can't say they should have.
A little credit to the opponent.
Look, I'm going to do this again because 4 straight possessions without a first down. I understand they had the number 1 offense in the sport last year, but that offense, I think, only went 3 possessions without a first down a couple of times. It's not because the offense was stopped by defensive players who were running all over the field defending against creative offense. It was because they were running it straight into the middle of the line, and they got the ball taken away from them. And then all of a sudden, what's coming back down to the field on you is quarterback draws and an inexperienced quarterback getting confidence because of how you played the game offensively the rest of the way. After that majestic drive that should be the drive that you put, that he's got, that right there, that drive is the best drive that Mario Cristobal's team has had against a good team since he's been here.
I think that they're capable of getting those drives when they need it. That game called for something different. In that run where they went 4 drives without a first down, they did get a field goal. Why? Because the defense made a point. If you want to go at Mario Cristobal for being conservative and trusting a defense to win a game, then give him credit for having that defense that was atrocious last year win the game.
When you or a Canes fan tell me Mario Cristobal in the second half was playing not to lose, I'm saying good for him, because guess what? He didn't lose.
And what are you saying if that field goal is missed or blocked in return for a touchdown?
Then you're so
because
sure
it was from 47 yards out.
I don't
I'd be saying
understand.
I wish we weren't settling for a 47.
Well, then Notre Dame also would have had to go back and score.
That's the thing.
It was tied at the time.
You miss me with assuming that Notre Dame comes back, and
Yeah.
Miami was controlling that
Their
game.
2-minute drill looked disastrous.
And you can play the what-if game on 90% of results in all of sports.
After
it's
the
absurd.
pick, Notre Dame scored on 3 of its last four possessions after not doing anything all game because they were with a quarterback that shouldn't be winning that game in that position. Has no reason to be winning that game in that position.
And he didn't.
I know, but the lead was given away, and there was a tie game. And what you're telling me, which is reasonable criticism, wow, the way they played the end of the game, I would really like them to just hold the ball the rest of the game, okay? Especially after getting that third and short conversion as momentum the way you did. Would have liked them to not give the ball back with a minute left. But settling for a 40-yard field goal with a guy who kicked 4 field goals successfully at FAU, okay, he did make it. But if he misses it and Notre Dame comes back and scores, you guys would be so confused about how Miami lost that football game.
I understand the 47-yard field for what it's worth, and you could certainly have concerns about the accuracy of the kicker.
It's 4 for 11 from that distance.
I understand.
Right?
The staff, when he was in fall camp, said this is the strongest leg we've ever seen.
And that field goal would have been good from 57 yards.
If that had hit the upright, like the show he's doing today,
They didn't. Don't do the show then.
You're doing the show.
Stop doing that show. They won.